computer. Okay, it says we are recording. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 85th episode of Concerned Dabs Podcast. I'm your host, Katie M. Kane. My guest tonight, ladies and gentlemen, he is the owner of HastyHeat.com. He is an engineer. He is a product designer. He is the man. He is my friend, Brent Hasty, in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, Brent Hasty, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, cool, man. Audio is good. Video is good. How's it been going, man?
Oh, the good life.
All right, yeah, dude.
Lockdowns over here are a little bit smaller.
Yeah, dude. I bet. I'd love to hear about that.
That's just life on the Shire for you.
No doubt. This is gonna be a dope interview because this guy is all the way out in Finland, so completely different half of the world. It's daytime where he's at right now. It's like half hour to midnight where I'm at right now. So it's pretty cool to make this happen. But I just want to give the people a little bit of context on how I met Mr. Brent Hasty. I was living in Portland, Oregon. I was working at a couple of dispensaries at the time. I was driving an electric vehicle. I was downtown, Electric Avenue, charging my car, and I saw this guy pull up in his Leaf. Mine was a blue one, his was like a red one, and he had this just like spoiler, like dome plastic thing coming off the back of his car, and I'm in my car just rolling one, and I'm just looking at him pull up, and he gets out, and like I put down my nugs for a second. I go and talk to the guy. I'm like, dude, what is that on your car? You know what I mean? And he's like, man, oh, it's called a Kammback. I'm like, where'd you get it? You know what I mean? He's like, oh, I made it. I'm like, are you an engineer? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, damn, dude. I'm like, does it do anything besides look cool? And this guy, man, you know what I mean? He's like, what do you get per kilowatt hour as far as miles? And I'm like, 3.7, 3.8 per kilowatt hour if I baby it. And he's like, come look at my car. And he opened his door and he turned it on and he showed me his dash and he was getting like 6.2. And I was like, damn. I'm like, just off of that. And he was just like, yeah, I got a little grill insert too. And it blew my mind. If anybody out there is an EV driver, look that up, man. You can make your own. Like it's legit. It'll increase the shit out of the range of your car. And from that moment on, I was completely impressed with this dude. Like, holy shit, dude. So after that, like we exchanged numbers and became friends, man. So we've been, kicking it ever since, and friends online talking about ways to change the world and shit, man. So
that's what the world needs.
Yeah, dude. And it really, anybody who's thinking about getting an electric vehicle, please get one. You will meet the dopest people on earth while you're sitting there charging your car next to someone else. You know what I mean? So
it turns into a whole different travel sociology. Part of it is now your petrol budget is your treats budget along the way.
Yeah. That's how it would go too. It's like there's somewhere to eat nearby.
I don't like sitting in a car for more than an hour or two straight.
Yeah.
I like to get out and walk around. It's good for your health.
That's
your top-up time. You spend the money at the local business next to the charger, get a crumpet if you're hungry, whatever.
Dude, yeah, man. They had that mod pizza. They had mod pizza downtown. It's like you could charge your car, go grab a pizza, eat it, come back, your car's done charging, continue on your way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that was the best scenario, bro. I love mod pizza still to this day. So when I met you, you had the Kammback on your car, dude. Can you talk about that product before we get into like the Hasty Heat and your move, out of the States and everything like that? Because, dude, there's so many things I want to ask you about and have you tell stories about. But that was the initial product. I've tried to pitch it to a couple of homies to try and produce it, and I still have to get back into an electric vehicle to handle that. And I'm going to do it this year, Brent.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our car, we're at 140,000. on the original brake pads.
Damn. See, that's what I told my pop, bro. At AZ, I had my brakes done like 4 times. I'm
I
like,
think
dude,
I think in all those miles, my maintenance has been topping up the windshield washer fluid and maybe 2 sets of tires.
that's what I tell people too. I said that the 3 years I drove that car, the only thing I paid for was tires and windshield wipers. You know what I mean? That was it for 3 years. You know?
As a guy, a gearhead, aerospace mechanic, even, I've built crazy cars. Like, how about a 1977 280Z 2+2 rare car? And I built it into a turbo diesel greasel, French fry grease oil burning 125-mile-an-hour sports car with all Nissan parts.
Dope. See, man, I got a couple mechanic homies who I'm friends with from my res, and they
Mm-hmm.
shit on me every time I talk about EVs. You know what I mean? And
Oh,
so it'll be good to send
I,
them this
I
episode
built
and just say, hey, bros,
crazy
just check
things
this
like,
out.
yeah, look up the Gluppity Glup turbo diesel hybrid electric motorcycle on YouTube under MPG Trikes.
Yeah.
So for a while, I had mpgtrikes.com. I've always been looking for a summer gig, and I figured efficient vehicles would be part of it. But I don't think anybody's built as Rube Goldberg of a complex, crazy, flailing petromobile as that.
Yeah.
and the thing I love about my electric car is it's so simple. I just push the button and it works.
Yes. Yeah. It
Like my
goes.
cell phone when I turn it on, I don't have to do filter changes on my cell phone. It's lovely.
Yeah, dude. Exactly. No brakes, no nothing.
Very
So
few parts, solid
yeah,
state.
yeah. So I mean, but back to the Kammback, bro. Like,
All right.
what inspired the design of that product, man?
Well, for a long time, I've been a participant in a group online called what is it? It tracks fuel mileage, ecomodder.com. I've got several vehicles that I've put in there, including a giant school bus, which I
Dope.
converted to RV.
Hell yeah.
But I did fuel mileage logs. In fact, the mileage logs for Ruby with the Kammback and field notes is all there for review if you'd like, showing the difference in efficiency.
On that website?
Yeah,
Say it again, please.
ecomodder.com.
Ecomodder.com. If you own a Nissan Leaf, check that shit out, because
Yeah, and also there you could see my 280Z diesel car and its fuel log, as well as a bunch of other projects.
that's dope, man. I got in a wreck recently. I got cashed out maybe like 6K. I couldn't get finance for the 10 to get the Leaf I wanted with the 40 kilowatt battery, so I went with
Mhm.
a Chevy Sonic, and it gets 29 to 39 depending. So I've been trying to track the mileage on that too, and I've been doing long trips, and it's manual transmission. I'll be able to get my loot out of it as far as work mileage, and then dish it off and get the Leaf I want next year for sure. So I
It
just,
sure is a wallet saver to own an EV.
yeah, dude, it
Especially over
is.
here in Europe, where the fuel prices aren't subsidized by aircraft carriers.
Yeah. Well, and dude, even here, it's like if I didn't have that car for those 3 years, I wouldn't have made it in Portland. I would have had too many maintenance issues and fuel costs for me to survive, because the cost of living in that city turned up during those years, dude. Like, way. You know what I mean? I remember you saying that was part of your reason for leaving too, but it was just like, man, I can't afford to pay for my shit to get fixed when when it breaks. And the
And
Nissan Leaf,
anything that flails,
yeah,
breaks.
And the Nissan, the Leaf didn't break, bro. I got rear-ended at a fucking red light. Some lady ran into me. You know what I mean?
See,
So
I've bought two of those totaled out Leafs from the insurance auctions.
yeah,
The first one I tore down stem to stern, and I could honestly tell you that if ever you needed to change the sound dampening mat on the firewall, that's going to be a very expensive replacement
okay,
because that is the very first thing put on the car after paint.
okay. Well, yeah, and that's one thing I messaged you about online too. Is there's this company in Portland called EV Rides LLC,
They look
and
legit.
yeah, and they do just like you said. They buy it from auction, and they will put a 40 kilowatt battery or a 62 kilowatt battery in your 2013 Nissan Leaf, which will make
So
it. And so I'm just like, dude. And so they have that part you were talking about. I think they modified it or built one of their own that can adapt it to the older Leaf model.
right. Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of that going on all over the world. And this takes me all the way back to when I finished school in the 90s,
Yeah,
right?
man, can you tell me that story? I remember you talking about your pop being in California and all of this shit was supposed to happen and didn't. So can you talk
Right.
about that history too? Tell that story, please, man.
So I was a very good student. I did like 32 of 23 required credits. Right. I
Word.
did high school and a half and
Yeah,
aced everything because I wanted to learn.
yeah.
And so I got my first college degree, basically vocational degree in aircraft maintenance, right alongside my high school diploma. So I
Dude,
hit the road running at a
what
young age.
aircraft maintenance, man? We had Kenny Pahina on the show for episode 81. He was in the Air Force and did aircraft maintenance too, man. You got to check out that episode.
Yeah, well, I sure love the education I got from aircraft maintenance, plus what I saw on my own. I had access to the university UNLV library to check out books, and I digested like the entire GM uh, um, um, uh, manual for the solar GM electric impact car that won the first solar challenge in Australia, which is something I aspired to do. In fact,
Damn,
in school, I was building a solar car.
damn.
Anyway, so I was all primed with the knowledge to hit the road with the California. I even moved to California after that. The zero emission mandate that they did in the 90s.
Yeah,
And when the GM Impact and many other EVs were built, like the Selectria E10 pickup truck, which I later owned one of, an awesome little AC inverter powered truck with regenerative braking and everything,
yeah,
based on a Chevy S10. And then California folded on that mandate. And these manufacturers, of course, quit making those cars. And it took another 20 years for these parts that I wanted available in the junkyard for me.
yeah.
It's like when I bought my car, dude was like salesman, Greg down there at what is that,
Right.
Auto?
Platt Auto.
We'll
Yeah.
give them a plug.
Oh yeah, fuck that. Yeah, I rock with them. Shout out to Platt Auto. I like them too. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, this car even still has warranty on it. And I'm like, what's warranty? I can't wait to start taking this car apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's why I bought a wrecked one, was so that I could take one apart and understand it. And I think Nissan did an excellent job on their manufacturing. The cableage is even coaxially shielded, so it's not likely to be affected by an EMP for all you guys who are working on point ignition systems.
Okay. I have no clue what those terms mean, you know, but I hope the gearhead homies dig that shit, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen to what he's saying, bros, you know.
So The Kammback was just one of the many aerodynamic modifications I've done to my Leaf. Another thing I did is I took the mud flaps off and I put them in front of the wheels to deflect the air around the wheel. That
No
was good
doubt.
for, a little bit. Moon disc hubcaps, solid wheels.
I remember seeing those on your car too. Yeah.
Rear fender skirts that cover the rear wheel partially to reduce that wind drag pocket.
Okay.
And then, of course, the Kammback grill block. I even put a little extra, just like regular foam door peel and stick sealant, that squishes in the door jamb,
Yeah.
in between the body panels around the hood and stuff to reduce the wind into there.
Nice.
Just aerodynamic detail like you would an airplane, right?
Well, yeah, dude. Well,
Because aerodynamics matters,
I
and
mean,
efficient is sexy.
it is, dude. It so is. I use that word all the time, and sometimes people are like, "Oh, this guy," and it's like, no, no, it's good all around. You can't hate on that. You know what I mean? Efficiency is sexy. How did you? Like, did you have to build more than one? Like, how did you test that shit, bro? Like, how did you know that there was drag right there behind the car and that you had to make it come down a little bit farther? Because that
Well,
was
our RTFM, I did my research first, and then all I did is build a cardboard model to make the template to cut out the plastic
okay.
to get the curve right. Then I put it together.
Damn.
I did drill screws and stuff into the tail lights and tail
Yeah.
fin
That was my
under warranty car.
yeah, that was my only issue. I was like, this is legit, but I want
How
to
do we
figure out a
mount it?
different way. Yeah, man. And I'm working on that. I have a couple of bros that see that remember and have a decent 3D printer so we can build a model on a scale Nissan
There you
Leaf
go.
model. So
There are like now 3D printed little inserts that snap into the stock Nissan Leaf wheels to make them solid, smooth like mine.
that's tight, dude.
And
See,
they can be any color filling that hole that snaps in. You get like 6 pieces or whatever per wheel, and looks good. You have your aluminum wheel, still looks good.
Yeah.
But you have the aerodynamic benefit of it not being an egg beater.
See, dude, this is why I love having you as a friend, because there's all of this shit that doesn't get sold to me by the corporation in my news feed or on TV. And these are products that people are making like you and I that will make a huge difference in your life that aren't mass produced by someone in China. It's like, nah, this guy prints them at his crib and mails them out, man. It's worth
Right?
$60, like pay $60. It's worth it.
Another good
You'll
one,
see it on your dash, bro,
right? Another
Yeah.
good one is there's a little spring you can put in the disc brake that holds it a little bit open off the pad. Rather than gliding on the disc, the pad's open a little, and that'll save some range.
Hell yeah.
It's a cheap mod, under $20.
Yeah, dude. And that's the other thing I wanted to try and sell to folks too is most people believe that you can't really mod an EV too much, and it's like, nah,
Oh man,
you could do all kinds of shit to that car,
have you
bro.
seen
know
the
what I mean?
rat rods that they are building from the wrecking yard parts of EVs now that they finally reached the wrecking yards? This is what I wanted to do when I was young and excited about building stuff.
Yeah.
And now I just want to develop new important products, needed products, very focused.
Yeah. Same, man.
Rather than building one-up crazy rat rods.
Yeah, I agree. I can dig that because I'm an everyday man, and I am also a decent salesman. And so it's like, who the fuck am I gonna sell a fucking souped up hot rod to, bro? There's maybe like 5 guys in this you know what I mean? But I could sell the other shit, the mods to the Kammback or the grill block or all of the products. I could sell that to every man as, hey man, like you'll see this on your dash as far as
Mhm.
range. So it's worth spending this little bit of money because it's gonna go way further, you know?
Right?
Yeah,
It's amortized over the life of the vehicle, which is, what's the life of an elevator, right? The
yeah,
electric motor's like that, 40 years.
yeah,
Other than that, you change the battery. Oh, well, battery's expensive. No, you're purchasing the next 200,000, maybe even million miles worth of traveling
yeah,
fuel up front for pennies per
yeah,
mile.
yeah, dude. That's when people want to argue with me, I'm like, do the math. I'm not trying to argue anymore. I'm like, calculate all of the costs and then calculate all of these costs and then compare them. You know what I mean? Like you rich people aren't driving I or are rich people aren't driving EVs for no reason. You know what I mean? It's they
Rich
understand the
people are
economics in it.
rich people are generally rich because they have developed some reasonable money management skills, or they won't be rich for very long, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And part of that is, buying efficient, economical vehicles.
Yes. Yeah. Fuck a sports
Look
car.
at the mega wealthy. I mean, they're like t-shirt blokes, like the what was the Apple dude point, right?
Yeah.
Just he always wear the same clothes and type stuff so that he didn't have to make that decision every day.
Yeah. And I dig that too, man. In my youth, I was a rapper, I was a D-boy, and my
Mhm.
appearance counted for something. I had to look a certain way when I stepped in the building, and I'm not that anymore. And it feels good to just focus on shit that I like and be goal oriented and not appearance oriented. You know what I mean? So it feels good to be like that. And I'm not even close to being anywhere near rich. So I just I try and observe people who have game and try
my
and
my
right click
wealth
that shit, you know?
my wealth is here.
Exactly. And that's why I always dig your vibe too, man, is it was always entrepreneurial spirit and also that money is not the most important thing, time is, you know? So
Mm, I love to be able to afford my own time. And a big part of
yes.
doing that is living debt free.
Yeah, man.
Man,
Yeah.
I got my costs down monthly. I can easily exceed my monthly need
Yeah.
in and so that just is less worry. Less worry. Uh, I could actually, because of what I my gig is, um, I have like an 8 month without a paycheck, right? Just doldrums, stuck, no sale. And that's evolved my mad financial skills to be able to make my money last over the year. And part of that is to have no bills.
No
Uh,
doubt.
I would regularly pay my power bill when I lived in America a year in advance.
Dope.
This goes back to wearing comfy t-shirts that less choice or less decision making, right?
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about paying that monthly bill. Talk to me once a year. Other than that, leave me alone. Give me my power.
Yeah. See, that's tight
We'll
because
settle up annually.
yeah, man, because I as a cultivator too, I was mostly an outdoor guy, but I've experimented with LEDs lately and that's relevant, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
planning and budgeting for that is important and being a businessman because we did a short film a few weeks ago in Yakima, Washington, and fuck, dude, we barely scraped by. We couldn't afford to pay anybody for their time, but we could get them a hotel room and give them travel money,
That's
and
cool.
everybody showed up, so it was cool. But it was a lesson to all of us. Like, dude, if we're gonna do more pages on the next one, then we need to budget for that and have the money ready beforehand because we see how much it costs now, and so it just doing the math, man. It's important. Like that's
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, and I'm more of a writer creator type guy, but I was decent in math in school, so it's good to have friends like this who throw it back in your face, like, hey, bro, you're paying for this and that. You know what I mean? And
I'll turn numbers inside out on top of themselves from 3 different fruit boxes on a napkin.
yeah, serious, dude. I like that shit, man, because that I like having friends like that because
It's like the energy in a bag of wood pellets is the cost equivalent of gasoline being at 75 cents to $1 a gallon.
no doubt. Yeah, man, good
So how about I
segue.
feed my truck wood pellets?
Yeah, good segue, bro. Can we switch to that because it's your like main business, right? Is hastyheat.com
Uh,
and can you talk about that? Because that I remember, ladies and gentlemen, I got to use a welding torch. I got to make one of these stoves. I don't think he sold it. It wasn't up to quality control or anything, but I got to make one of them, you know, and it was a dope experience for me, and it was super fun. But it just it allowed me to see the scope of what this man is doing besides all of his engineering stuff. It's like, no, he's making practical products to help people in the real world too. So can you talk about that, man, and the inspiration for that?
well, we got to start at the beginning about what was it, Y2K, right? I had a brother and a sister that were
Hmm.
splitting an apartment, lived nearby me, and their apartment had electric heat, and they were complaining about the heating bill.
Yeah,
Their electric rate, you know, it was like an extra $250 a month on their bill to keep the place warm.
yeah,
And it had a little toy fireplace. So for Christmas, I just whipped out one of these little great heat exchangers that fit inside that fireplace. Here you go, bro, says. Put a fan on it, blows out hot air. I'm like, wow, that works really good.
yeah.
And then after that, shortly, I was talking with some friends of mine I worked for. I did a alternative energy solar wind battery inverter setup in their horse ranch.
Okay. So
You
what
know,
were
they
they going to use that for?
to backup power for their horse ranch.
Oh, okay, cool. That's tight.
So it's like a big 40-acre property, big A-frame log cabin, giant
Test.
house, cobblestone hearth that was arched.
So
So
it's
the
like
second,
you made a Tesla battery before there was a Tesla battery.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. All right. Cool. Just want to make that clear for the folks who are listening to this episode.
So I was talking with them on the phone, and Ellen of biowater.com. She was talking to me, and yeah, says, yeah, I made this thing for my brothers and sisters fireplace that really made it more functional. And she's like, well, how about you build one for us? I said, sure. I'd worked with them before. They got good money.
Yeah.
So I built them a arched double row to match with lift out ashtray and battery backup
Dope.
and variable speed fans.
Dope. And that's the one with the tubes coming up that looks like an organ and shit like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the second one I ever built.
That's tight. I think that's the
And
one. I remember making some videos for you, and I think that's the one that Jordy and his lady kept for their fireplace because it was just like you gave us like four of them, and it was just like, man, so we're like, we want that one, you know. And it was the one with the tubes coming up. So I don't know if they still use it, but hopefully they do. I think they had to get their chimney swept out or something, but
that's important. Burn a
yeah,
hot fire, sweep your chimney less.
yeah, yeah, hell yeah,
Don't smolder a fire. It's
no doubt,
terrible. We can talk about that. I can tell you all about smolder.
yeah.
Basically, wood smoke is unburnt fuel. So, you know, if you enjoy cutting down forests and splitting firewood, you know, by all means, smolder your wood because 80% of the wood's heat energy is in that smoke. You better burn it.
Word, because that and that's interesting to me because I am indigenous. I grew up my whole life with a wood stove in my parents' house, and we would go and cut down red fir and sometimes tamarack, and it's like we would. So you look for the split in the log, you chop that fucker down, load it up in the truck, and then, you know, throughout the winter you got to chop it and make kindling and all that. So when I met you and you were talking about pellet stoves and shit, it just culturally, it was like different than what I'm used to. But mathematically, you know, it's like, nah, this shit fucking makes sense. So when you say that, you know, 80% of what you're burning in your wood stove is going out with the smoke, not heating up your house. You know what I mean? So
Well, speaking to the flammability of smoke, right? With wood smoke. I mean, they've run vehicles on it.
yeah,
I'm building a wood smoke generator that's capable of producing enough wood smoke to run a jet engine
dope.
because you know I want a wood pellet fueled jet engine.
Yeah, hell yeah. Build a train or something, man.
Well, actually, what it'll do is it'll produce 30 kilowatts of 483 phase electricity, which is way more than I need. And I can sell the excess, not at a huge profit, but at more than enough to pay for the fuel.
Yeah. See,
So
and
now
that's
I
and
now I
dude,
have 60 kilowatts of waste heat on my property for free.
yeah, see, dude, and this is my tribe is just now getting around to installing solar. I shot a scene with my homeboy Bob. He's the head of the he's one of the designers for the solar crew. They're doing all the office buildings at my tribe first to put panels up, and but it's cool to hear this shit from someone else that I know, because like the world is changing a little bit, and my tribe has a charging station now, man. It's
Excellent.
Chademo at the casino and everything. So I'm already set to get that car next year and be able to go and visit home and be able to make it back to where I stay and be safe. You know what I mean? So it's cool to see all these changes happening, man. And that's one thing that I dig too, is that you understand how these mathematical terms relate to each other, because I the electricity math to me is hard as fuck,
I,
dude. It's like I only know kilowatt hours related to mileage because I drove that car for 3 years. You know what I mean? And so I try to, anytime you say anything to me, or I see some gardening homies talking about lights and electricity, it's like I try to relate those terms to kilowatt hours and how many miles I could get on my car, because that's how it's relevant. So I dig how you're breaking this down with wood stoves and pellets and such too, man, and how much power that you can generate and contribute back to the grid. You know what I mean? And
Mhm,
sell or
mhm.
whatever. You know. So
The project I'm working on with the wood pellet stoves is I'm my goal is to put a lightweight, compact, efficient, lightweight, easy to ship, modular, easy to rearrange for different needs. A wood pellet, because wood pellets can be automated. Okay, this is where the firewood, like, oh, I'm always going to heat with firewood. Well, as long as you want to maintain a fire every few hours, that's fine.
yeah, it
But a
is.
pellet stove can literally run the entire heating season without maintenance,
Word. Yeah,
or
because
very minimal maintenance, or
yeah,
daily soaking, depending upon the complexity of the item and your hopper size.
yeah,
But I'm working on a pellet stove that is effectively a miniaturized version of a combined heat and power incinerator with district heating. I want to put one of these in every person's home so that they don't have a power bill, which is
yeah,
one less financial concern weighing on emotional matters.
yeah, dude. See, and I dig these terms you use too, because it is, man. It's these terms aren't really culturally relevant. It's fucking everyone on earth, or at least in this country, relevant. You know what I mean? So it
Well,
just
when I put that first picture of the double row arch for the horse ranch online, people never quit slapping me with their credit cards since.
yeah,
Because it solves a problem that there's a huge need. and that it is high on Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
How many people rent a house that has a fireplace in it? They're on tight budgets. They're using that fireplace for heat.
Yeah.
So if they can buy a device that's going to save them in 1 year enough bought firewood, or pay for your own labor, right?
Yeah.
Firewood to pay for itself, and then it works for 10 years, saving that much every year,
Yeah.
right?
It is
Team
too, man.
number.
And that's, man, that's the one thing I want to mention too. My buddy Tomcat, Thomas Rickman, his pop passed away in like 05, 06. His name was Tom Rickman Jr. So my buddy Tomcat is the third, Cat the third. Shout out to Cat the third. His pop had a pellet stove heating their house. You know what I mean? I remember I was a year older than him. I was maybe in 8th grade and he was in 7th grade. And I remember his pop had a pallet of pellets, bagged up, dropped off. And me and Tomcat, that was our chore for that day, is we had to move them in to the crib and set them, where they're stored at, instead of leaving
Fill the
them outside.
couch.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And there was like, there was like 50 or 100 of them. It's, they're like 10, 20 pounds. It was a chore. It took us, maybe an hour or so, but
A
we were
pallet
kids.
is typically 50 bags of 40 pounds.
Yeah.
And I think that works out to 50 megawatt hours
Yeah.
of heat energy.
Well, dude, and while we were doing it, it reminded me of stacking cords of wood with my pop or anyone else who had a wood stove. And it just, I remember I was like, man, and I was like, why does your pop have pellets instead of, a wood stove? And this was 1995, 96 or something. And his dad was the finance manager for our tribe. Really good at math, really good at, and so when you mentioned these things to me, it immediately clicked in my brain, like Tomcat's pop, man. Like he had a pellet stove, and that's why he did. You know what I mean? He did. It was like he understood that him going out with his truck, filling it up with gas, chainsaw, getting gas for that, maintaining all and cutting it. He was like, this cost way more than just doing this. You know what I mean? And is way more efficient. And it's not just cost based, for materials. It's efficiency in heating the house, dude. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he was a really smart dude. He passed away, R.I.P. Tom Jr. He was a really cool cat. I miss him a lot. And Auntie Wendy too. She passed away. Shout out to Auntie Wendy. But it just when you were talking about pellet stoves, it just that's where my brain went immediately, and it was just like, nah, they always did well, and he was smart, good with math, and
with the available technology we have, some of it not so off the shelf, or at least not economically off the shelf, which I intend to disrupt that problem.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Like Stirling generators, thermoacoustic generators. A Stirling engine is no more complex than a lawnmower Briggs and Stratton. And what does a replacement engine there cost?
Fuck, probably like 150 from the local guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, he's
so
getting over.
Why is it a Stirling engine costs $15,000? Well, because everybody who's making them can charge that. We just need somebody to put a Stirling engine that produces real power on eBay for $500, and he'll make a killing.
Yeah.
So there's business idea for any of y'all. I'll buy them.
Yeah. Well, dude, that's the thing that I dig about you too, is
open source the world.
Yeah. Well, it's like with the Kammback. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, like I was given a prototype of this device from my friend I'm interviewing right now. It's like, he's like, I'm moving to Finland. You can have this. You know what I mean? And I kept it and took pictures of it and measured it and tried to collaborate with homies who would see it as a win. And nobody ever really squeezed on it. But I just thought that was super cool of you to just give it away. But it's not just that you gave me a prototype. It's like, it's online. When I mention it to people, they can Google it and they can see the exact same photos that I took, more or less, and see the measurements. And I just think that's cool, dude. It's very, because Elon Musk does the same thing. You know, it's all of his patents are open. It's like you can look at all the designs and the blueprints, and it's like, hey, man, if you can make something tighter than this, fucking do it and start selling it.
Right?
You know what I mean? And I just,
Outbuild me.
well, yeah, dude, I just think that's dope because I'm a musician also, right? And so if I sample
Nature
some,
collaborates.
yeah,
Nature
and
collaborates.
it's if I sample someone else's work or I, cover it or anything like if they're way platinum, they can come after me with a lawyer. You know what I mean? And it's cool that you and Elon Musk, and there's other guys doing it too that I can't name because I don't know them, but I know Brent Hasty and Elon Musk are
Linus Torvalds.
are open patent guys that are like, hey man, here's what I did. Make something better if you can, And I
It's like my CHP wood pellet stove fits in a priority mail flat rate box.
yeah,
Has a griddle for 2 pots. When you unfold the thing and stand it up,
yeah,
heats a yurt wonderfully. Run for hours on a handful of pellets.
yeah, dude. And you got the USB charger option too, right?
Right?
Is
The
that like,
water cooled thermoelectric generators. In my house, the Suamabator I have in here, it on high, it'll get our sauna up to 60, 65 C, plenty warm, and burn a bag of pellets every 12 hours. That's a lot of heat energy, kilowatt hours of heat energy.
dope?
Because on average, 1 bag a day heats my home, a home. But in the process of that, it also heats the hot water loop for the house, makes our hot showers. We can cook on top of it. And it's water-cooled thermoelectric generators, which is the heat exchanger for the shower, produce enough electricity for us to get a free trip to town and back every day,
That's cool, man.
all for the same handful of pellets.
Yeah, see, man, I love that, man. And that's the other thing too is when I came out there to do the welding training at your crib out there, you had a solar panel set up to charge your car that you built yourself, dude. And
Up until I sold the ranch to move to Finland, I was running my business off grid with my own on-site produced energy, and the Leaf was the shop truck.
dude, can you talk about the design and setup of that and the inspiration for that? Because I'm gonna run to the can real quick, and I will be back in 1 minute and 30 seconds. But if you can tell this story without me on your screen, that would be dope. And then I'll check back in.
All
Is that
right.
cool with you?
Sure.
All right, man. Brent Hasty talking about powering his ranch with his own energy through solar. All right, here it goes, ladies and gentlemen.
So I guess we had this 8-acre farm out in the Portland area, and had no power when we landed. I had my big school bus, which had a large battery bank and inverter. That immediately powered us up as I backfed the grid. Then I just built a solar tracking sunflower on a stump that generated about 1,600 watts of electricity in full sun as it followed it through the sky. In the shed, we had a split phase inverter for the split phase 220 electrical grid system that America has, capable of 8 kilowatt continuous, 16 kilowatt surge, and about a 22 kilowatt hour battery made out of golf cart battery. And we could run about 3 days without sun. I added another 2 kilowatt hours of flat panel solar to the roof when we got our Leaf to feed that iron horse.
I'm back.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. I'm gonna catch that story when I release into the episode.
All
Um,
right.
yeah. I just wanted you to express your knowledge and skill level too on just doing, because it's real world shit that people don't think is achievable or that is beyond their reach or their scope. You know what I mean? And it's not.
I I ran a horse farm and a welding shop off grid.
Yeah.
And my advice is, basically just spend whatever you're paying for power, spend that twice a month, right?
Yeah.
If you're paying $100 a month, take a extra $100 every month, so your power bill's $200, and buy a solar panel and hang it in the sun and offset your bill. And just keep doing that till you don't have a bill anymore.
Yeah. Good advice, man. Because there is a lot of different companies who are trying to sell different angles and financing and shit. And it's like, yo, you
You
don't
know,
have to do that
I've
anymore,
seen so
dude.
many people. I've seen so many people, uh, tripping over dollars to pick up dimes, waiting for the best tax incentive deal. Right?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
don't even worry about that. Don't play that game. Just get
Yeah.
it and start saving today because it's going to amortize over the rest of your life.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Really good advice, man. Like I dig that shit because man, we don't have to fucking pay for gas. You know what I mean? Like we don't. Like I keep
When we quit
it,
paying for gas, healthcare will become much cheaper.
yeah, dude. Like there's yeah. I just world changing ideas, Brent Hasty. I dig the shit and then making it human and relatable to everybody else on earth.
Hmm.
Um
So the
so
fire triangle, what do you need for fire, right? You know the fire triangle?
to
What
talk
does it
about
take?
it. Yeah, tell me about it.
You got your fuel, your oxidizer, and heat. Those are the three things you need for combustion.
Yep.
You take any one of them away, and you don't have fire.
Okay.
So a good fire is a hot fire. In fact, the hotter, the better. It
Yeah.
burns to a point. I think it's somewhere around 1600 C. The nitrous oxides start going up if you burn hotter than that. But basically, if you're burning at wood, prefers a stoichiometric ratio of about 1.2 to 1. So that's 0.2 extra oxygen by weight for the same amount of fuel being volatilized by heat.
Okay.
All right. So if you want to burn clean and get your dollar's worth out of your biomass, you want a hot fire. And the air that you're introducing to it should not be cold. Cold causes soot. If you introduce air that is already above the auto ignition point of wood, then combustion's a given. And in my little CHP Swamivator pellet stove cartridge, so it's just this little cartridge, a little column where everything's just balanced to operate like the combustion burner in a jet engine. The air rushes up the bottom with the draft or by fan induction. The fuel goes down, gets oxidized. The heat is conserved in a double wall, and then air is induced post combustion at several stages to burn any hot gases.
Dope.
You
Yeah.
can stick you can stick your face in the exhaust and it doesn't sting your eyes. It barely even smells like fire
Dope.
because it's all burned.
Yeah. Hell yeah. It's dope to hear the breakdown on the math, man. Cause fuck. I'm a nerd. I grew up a nerd, but it's the shit is relevant to me because I fucking hate having to pay for repairs and maintenance and bills. So it's
Ladies, ladies out there need to breed more nerds.
Yeah. Yes. Goddamn right. I hope folks are listening, man.
We don't
So
want idiocracy like the last 4 years.
fuck no, man. Yeah, for reals. So we talked about the Kammback EVs and Hasty Heat. The other thing that I have written down to ask you about is Finland.
Oh my! Well, that's an interesting one. Well, of course,
Yeah.
you know, I
Well, because and let me, because ladies and gentlemen, right now as we're recording this, Brent Hasty is in Finland, and I am in Spokane, Washington. So it's
right.
opposite sides of the earth. And he was my friend 4 years ago, and I remember him talking like, "I'm gonna move to Finland," and he fucking did. He's out there
You
now.
met
You know
me.
what I mean,
You met me before I knew I was going to do this.
dude? Yeah. So it just I dig
Well,
when
it really
when
does.
homies express to me a goal and then they achieve it. It's like, I don't know. It's awesome. I love that shit. So can you talk about what inspired the move and
Well,
all of
yeah,
that?
I'll have to start at the beginning because it's a great story.
All right.
All right, so my wife's in the kitchen, starting to put away dinner. Got a 6-month-old boy sitting in a high chair, creaming in his face with the broccoli or whatever. I'm probably finishing up my second helping, getting ready to clear the table, and it was just like this. It was like, oh no, and my wife's like, what? And I'm like, I just had a thought that cannot be unthunk. And she's like, what? And I'm like, well, why don't we just move to Finland?
Yeah. Well, because that's where your old
And
lady's
then the
from,
rest was
right?
history.
And that's where your lady's from there, right?
She is Finnish. So certainly that's part of the decision. But the backstory that led to that unthinkable thought was of course the boy. A new equation in my life, right? I'm doing new math all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Dreams, because I wield my subconscious. My favorite thing is to just photograph books, like the whole engineering section of the universe. Just flip the pages and expose it to my brain eyeball picture, and from there, let the subconscious work it. If you ever pull that book out again and need to reference something, your eyeball will spot what you're looking for faster. That specific page, paragraph, and quote.
Yeah. And man, I try to say this to homies too, is the gems and the jewels are in ink, not in ones and zeros. You know what I mean? Like, you can find a lot of cool shit online, but if it's down to the actual core of creating, like, and you want to look at someone else's work, like, look at it on paper, bro. You know, it'll stain your brain a little bit fucking longer than watching a YouTube video, you know?
I like that. Stain your brain.
Yeah, you know, like it will. It's like, I remember what that looks like, just like you're saying, you know? It's like,
So, of course, because having a child, I became much more concerned about the state of America. You know, people have asked me after living in Finland for approaching 4 years now. Often they'll ask, you know, what's the difference? What is it like, right? So the first thing I'll tell them, well, America, USA, is a great place for business. And it is. I was a business operator there till I gave it to my brother.
yeah,
And kicked down because I can't keep flying back and forth to
yeah,
manage it. So in Finland, it might not be as good for business. Yeah, more rules, and I don't know about taxes. Seems to be about the same.
well, it's less of a capitalist society, isn't it?
Less, yes. They value time more.
Dude,
Like every Finn gets like a month of vacation. If you have a
fuck,
kid, if you have a kid, she doesn't have to go to work 2 years.
Damn.
She can raise that kid at least till it's off the teat.
That's cool, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the things that my tax dollar purchases here more.
Yeah.
I'm really tired of
it comes back to
buying
you.
swords when I want to buy plows.
Yeah. And man, say that again, please. Because I was
I'm
interrupting.
really tired of buying swords when all I want to buy is plows.
That's dope.
When I
Because
was finishing my education, the Air Force really wanted me in for maintenance deals, right? And so did Southwest and Delta. And on the military, I was like, I wouldn't be good. I wouldn't be good for them. They'd be like, well, build us this tank, right? And I'd be like, oh, damn, it came out as a tractor again.
yeah. it's got a digger, it's got a backhoe on there.
Damn, it came out as a tractor again. I'll try harder next time.
Yeah, there's 22 pistols on the side of it. That's awesome. I dig that shit.
So honestly, I didn't take a job from any of them. I got on my motorcycle and I did Highway 101, took the road less traveled, and had a colorful life.
Dude, see, I love that too, man, because I was a smart kid in my class when I graduated in 2000, and maybe there was high expectations from teachers or other adults around me, and it took me a long time to finish college. It took me 8 years. I dropped out, went back, dropped out, went back. And then when I finally broke out of my reservation, I had charges on my record that wouldn't give me the job that everybody expected me to have based on my intelligence or skill set or education. And so when I moved to Oregon, I got into cannabis because that's what I was into. You know what I mean? And it was the road less travel. There wasn't a college that I could go to and learn that shit. I had to figure it out for myself and create community amongst my friends and do all the shit that they don't teach you in school, dude. And
Right?
it's been a fucking awesome journey so far. You know what I mean? I have so many stories to tell, and I've met so many friends like you that I can ask about their journey and to tell their stories. And it just I dig how you said that, man, because I try to encourage anyone else to do the same thing, like the structure or organization that's in place, if it doesn't feel like it fits you, you don't have to join it or be a part of it. You can do your own thing and still be successful,
Mm-hmm. Whatever you do, it better be something you enjoy.
Yeah, your time on earth is your time on earth, man.
Right? Make love, not war.
Yeah.
You don't want to dread. Dread makes you unhealthy.
It does, man. Stress kills, man. It fucking does.
Slow, painful too.
Yeah,
At the end of your
man.
life, when you should be smiling backwards.
Yeah, and people are like, man, why do you smoke all the time, John? And I'm like, I'm not hurting myself or anyone else, and I'm not stressing. You know what I mean? It's not my total crutch, but fuck, I don't have to be pissed off or angry. It's like I'm chilling out. I could say those things are still present, but I'm not pissed off and angry about them. I can deal with them and look at them from an objective. Yeah, I can objectively look at the situation and make adjustments. Like when I'm pissed off and angry, it's a lot harder to do that. Like it is. It's like you're,
It's part of the autonomic system from your very cellular structure it's basically binary. You have two modes that the cell can be in.
Yeah.
Either growth or flight, self-preservation.
Yeah.
And when you're in flight, you're not in growth.
Dope.
So when you have something you don't like and your cells feel it through your emotional field, they are in flight mode.
Yeah.
Not growth mode. And that leads toward disease.
No doubt. Dope breakdown, man. Um, before I ask you my cookie cutter question, I ask everyone else. I remember you adjusting the camera before we started the interview to capture the building behind you in the background. Can you tell the story behind that before I ask you my cookie cutter question?
Well, I got to get back to why we moved to Finland, though.
Okay.
So, as a new father, yes, I was concerned about the sociological and educational opportunities my son would have in America. And becoming familiar with Finland and the Finnish culture through the few years I've spent with my wife and become interested in learning about it, right?
Yeah.
It culminated from looking at homeschooling in America, difficult times, expensive homes, to moving to Finland. Economical homes, not great, little tiny economical homes
Yeah.
out in the country, fixer-uppers available,
Yeah.
but
I don't
starting
need
it stupid
much.
cheap to me. Starting it stupid cheap to me when I was looking at the property I was on, $250,000 note, right? I don't want bills.
Hell
So
no.
we cashed out every bit of equity we had and flat purchased our home when we hit.
Dope. So
No bills.
you own the land and everything too, where you're at right
Yeah,
now.
no bills.
Sick, dude.
And to step out of my homeland and get a community with sociology, how they think, is what I bought for my son. Their
Yeah.
education system is what I bought for my son. And Finland is no joke about families. Even on crosswalks, children are included in everything.
Yeah.
You know, dudes holding the girl or whatever. Every business has a playground for a kid.
Tight.
And I lost a wallet with 500 euros shortly after getting into my house, 100 kilometers from home. Next morning, as I'm getting coffee, it's at my front door. Dude wouldn't even take a tip.
Damn. That's unheard of, dude. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of honesty I strive for and I look for in my friends. You know what I mean?
This is what expatriating USA has bought for my son.
Yeah. That's dope, man. That's dope.
And so I said, see you later, family. We're going to go move to be with the other half of Max's family, Ava's family, and live in Finland for Max to go to school.
Yeah.
And so we liquidate the farm, get everything down to our Nissan Leaf and 2 pallets, 2 big pallets,
Yeah.
shipped in a container to Finland, picked up at the port.
Damn.
So
Dude, that's a huge leap of faith too, dude. Like, damn. You know, I'm like, man, because like, fuck, dude. Like, I'm scared to go anywhere just because.
I have a history of being willing to go all in on a decision.
Yeah, same, bro.
Sometimes it hasn't worked out good, but I'm still here. I'm still breathing. You know, when I got in my motorcycle accident, the angel told me, the trick is just keep breathing.
Yeah, I fucking love that, dude. Cause I'm fucking roll the dice. I don't give a shit, man. You know, like I love that. Yeah, man, for reals, dude.
Oh, like when I bought Ruby, right? It wasn't even on my radar. And then all of a sudden I see an ad or something. Platt Auto's got Nissan Leafs downwards 15 grand, right? And I
Yeah,
look into the bank and I'm like, I just happen to have about 15 grand laying around. I'm like, hun, let's go get an electric car. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I have 1559 or something like that.
yeah,
And so I go see Greg, and he had a SL, which is the top shelf model, which I'm so glad I bought. I'm totally a top shelf customer now. I
yeah.
won't do without the backup camera and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love that shit. Yeah, same. I had the same one in
Make
mind,
sure
man.
when you get back into one, just pay the premium for the SL. It's much
Yeah,
better.
no doubt.
And I had to go all in on that. I mean, seriously, I raked together the couch. I had maybe $5 left after I bought that car.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I'm making more money next week.
Yeah.
I don't need to go out to dinner tonight. We got a full pantry.
Yeah.
But I got that car. And the moment
Yeah.
I got that car, my transportation costs became nominal.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Like, same. It would just like, I don't have that expense anymore. There's this free
And
fast charger downtown. Like, there's like, dude, it just, people didn't understand it. You know what I mean? They're like, you can only go this
so
far, but it's like, it doesn't fucking matter. I can go and plug in downtown and go get a pizza. Like, it's nothing. Like, I don't.
I can unscrew a light bulb at a rest stop and plug in.
Yeah, well, and just the pizza that I bought was less than I would have paid for gas for that, you know?
Right.
So it was just like, fuck, I'm cool. I'm fucking with Mod. Fuck the
It's
gas
like a
station.
10-to-1, like a 10-to-1 reduction in yeah, any y'all that are struggling to make your annual ends meet, get into an EV. It's like giving yourself a couple $1,000 a year raise.
It is the relevant math. Swear to God, ladies and gentlemen. Like you, especially if you live on my reservation in Lapway, Idaho, there's a fucking fast charger at the casino now. Like, you don't have to pay for oil changes, no nothing. Just go plug in and charge up and then plug it in at your house overnight. Like, it's nothing. It's nothing.
So going all in, not a big deal.
No doubt.
So we sold our horses, cows, goats, chickens. Thankfully, my dog was old and passed away right about that time. So just
Yeah.
buried her under a giant redwood tree, and then we had about 4 months, 4 to 6 months with no home. We were homeless.
Yeah.
We were couch surfing. I did get a big Dodge truck, fifth wheel RV, all decked out with solar and battery. Actually, I took apart some off the house.
Yeah.
and built a really nice emergency return home camp that sits out in Pendleton.
Dope. I got a son out in Pendleton, dude. So next time you make a trip out that way, maybe we link up, man. I'm trying to schedule a visit. Yeah.
So one pallet was my tools. The other pallet was our clothes and household goods, whatever we were going to get through customs and declaration. And what you move with initially is the best time, but at the same time, we had to keep our costs slim because we wanted to outright buy a house. We didn't have any credit history in Europe.
Yeah.
Because the last 25 years, my wife's been working in America. So we
Yeah.
couldn't borrow money if we wanted to. So whatever deal we find, it has to be within our budget. So we board the plane with little 2-year-old Max, and we leave. His first airplane ride was to leave his homeland.
Yeah. True.
And while we're in the air, our goods are on the water. They're going to arrive in about 3 weeks. We land at her dad's, couch surf some more.
Yeah.
After 2-3 days of my first jet lag, oh my gosh, that's no joke. It gets easier the more you do it. But once we got oriented to the time zone, which is a full 12-hour flop, almost 11-hour flop from Portland.
Yeah.
We started getting on the real estate sites and looking for home. And our criteria is very simple. We just wanted, at least a 50 square meter little cottage, 2 bedrooms and bath, kitchen, living room. More importantly, though, we needed about at least a 30 square meter shed with a concrete floor and electricity. So I could get.
So you get busy and make your stuff and everything.
And we would prefer at least a half-acre of property because I'm a noisy creator. It's best if my neighbors live further away from me.
Same, dude. I want to fucking play my music loud, Brent Hasty.
That's right.
Yeah.
So at least a half an acre. It makes for good neighbors. Well, about 3 days into it in the morning, my wife's like, "Stop looking, I found it." She shows me this property that we did indeed buy. And it is a retired school in the village of Toikala,
Dope.
within EV range of Grandpa,
That's cool, man.
because it was important that we lived near family. And it was adorable because of family. Both her father and her aunt's initial reaction to, "Hey, this is what we want to buy. It's our deal." It was
Yeah.
like, no, you can't buy that. And we're like, "What? Why?" And they're like, "It's too big. It's too expensive to heat."
You're like, contraire, my friend.
Hold on, I'm Mr. Hasty here. This is a challenge. This is a challenge. I'm going to hook up my jet engine to it that I declared through customs as a 30 kilowatt combined cycle wood pellet furnace. Yeah, I brought my own furnace.
That's sick, dude.
So we ended up with like 10,000 square foot of indoor insulated space. 1.5 acres, 2 gymnasiums, 9 bedrooms, just boiler room, wet room. So to do maintenance on the buildings, like,
Word.
and already I've reduced the February, of course, being the coldest month. This building, with just the rooms we are using, right? We don't have the whole house heated, but it would burn 600 euros in oil to keep warm for the month of February, minus 25 C outside and 20 C inside.
Damn. What did you turn it
Right?
into? What did you reduce it to?
The structure also has 2 air source heat pumps, which will reduce that heating bill in February down to 500 euros a month. See, I'm a math man.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's still €100 a month saving. Great. But I put in one of my pellet stoves and dropped that bill to 190 euros for heating in the month of February. And honestly, the house was warmer than ever.
That's
was
dope.
more like 22 C.
Yeah.
And it was heat saturated because a pellet stove is a continuous heat engine, right?
Yeah.
Unlike a fire where the heat goes up and down, or a furnace that turns on and off by thermostat, right? The trick is to just match the heat loss of the envelope, right? And the average home is only losing a couple of kilowatt per hour of heat, 3 to 5. So if you have a 3 to 5 kilowatt heater, like my workshop, it has a 1 kilowatt heater. I'm not trying to keep it super hot, but trying to keep it from freezing.
Yeah.
And that 1 kilowatt heater consists of 6 GPUs crunching cryptocurrency. It's wrapped in a bag that filters the air as it pumps it for cooling and heats my shop. Quadruple win.
Well, because fuck, dude. TJ, True Justice from Beers, Bongs, and Bullshit podcast. If you are listening to this episode right now, this conversation is relevant to your garage where we podcast. It's cold as a motherfucker in there, Brent Hasty. And that's why I was messaging you. I was messaging you last week, like, "Hey man, what's up with the pellet stoves? Like, my homie has a garage. It's cold as shit in there. Like
here, DIY it up."
Yeah, I sent him that same YouTube link, and I'm like, dude, we got to build one of these. You know what I mean? Like, I'm down. I'm totally down. We could do it for cheap, and we'll see. I'm gonna send him this episode and be like, dude, let's fucking do that shit. Because he has his cousin, her husband, does drywall and insulation. And he's like, man, we could do the ceiling. I'm like, just do the ceiling and build this fucking stove, bro. It'll be great. You know what I mean? It'll be good till fucking April,
So after finding the property, first we came out here with the auntie. And so it's my wife, my son, and I, and the auntie. She was retired from real estate.
Mhm.
And we do the house tour, and we come in, and pretty soon the kids disappeared. We're like, where did the kid go? We go looking for him. And we walk down this long hallway, which is his raceway for his tricycle. Anyways, he's in the kid bathroom with a half-height little kiddie toilet and sink, washing his hands. Just did his duty.
All right. Cool, man.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
Actually, we didn't tip our cards like that yet. We came back with her father, and then got the family's approval to buy it.
Cool, man.
And
So,
then I got to tell my family that not only did I move my son to Finland for school, literally and figuratively, because we now live in a schoolhouse.
yeah. That's dope, man. So are you gonna Airbnb the shit right there behind you or what, man? Is
I
that the
thought
plan?
about it. I thought about it. They're putting in a great big Coumaring racetrack, and I could put out barbecues, porta potties, and use that big old schoolhouse from, what was it, 1890.
Yeah.
Just the attic. If I put out cots, I could like do a hospice bunk.
Yeah.
Like just come sleep. You got to go away during the day. Here's somewhere to cook, keep clean,
Yeah.
and stack them and rack them for people who want to go to the F1 races and stuff here at the track just up the road.
Yeah. I think that would be tight, dude. Another
Right?
business move. Yeah, hell yeah.
Because it has the capacity to attract more than the hotel industry locally has.
I agree. I if I come to visit, bro, I'm like, yo, can I crash in the schoolhouse, man? You know what I mean? Like, man, I was like, yeah,
Yeah, go
it's warm
study.
in there. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Cause fuck, I don't know. I
Yeah,
think that
my boy has an indoor trampoline because we got a gymnasium.
I think the moves you're making are fucking awesome, bro. Like totally, you know. Which brings me to my cookie cutter question.
All right.
There's a two-sided question. First side is the good side. Second side is the bad side. I ask this to everyone who's an entrepreneur who is successful, man. So the first half of the question, what do you feel has been your best move on the path to where you're at right now?
To keep my job to a zero commute.
Word.
I work at home.
Yeah.
I just walk to another building, go to work. To not have that travel time and cost has improved my life.
No doubt.
The other path to success is internet. If it wasn't for eBay and PayPal, I probably wouldn't be sitting here, because they gave me the venue to sell my craft, hot off my welding bench.
Yeah. That's dope.
And probably the other thing to be successful in business is, share a lot. That's what gets you awareness.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. It's a good advice, man. Good answers, Brent Hasty, and not super
It's like
long.
every time I ship, I want to take a picture of what I'm shipping and flick a little picture off to Pinterest,
Yeah.
because it keeps me, not just all the pictures I already have on Pinterest, but this is current. It
Yeah.
keeps me on the front of the page.
Yeah. No doubt. Okay. So the other side of that question, Brent Hasty, is what do you feel has been your biggest mistake on the path to
Not
where you're
having
at
a
right now?
not having a commute.
Word.
There are advantages to leaving home to go to work.
Word.
Uh, um, in relationships and stuff, like with the son, it's really difficult for him to have daddy at home and not able to play.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, son, I need to go do this right now so we can keep the lights on.
Yeah. Word. So same answer. That's dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Take.
Um, any other difficulties I've had? You know, I've had losses and shrinkage and all kinds of things happen in business, as does internal theft, whatever. But man, at the end of the day, I'm money ahead.
Yeah. That's dope, man. It's good advice, man. Um, we're past an hour. We're past an hour now, dude. I asked all the questions I wanted to ask. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, or is there any concepts or ideas that you want to promote for the future?
Well, let's lay out my YouTube channels.
Okay, yes, yeah, and that, yeah, dude, promote. Please send me the links to in Messenger so I can add them in the description so
Yeah.
people can,
So
yeah.
just YouTube user ID Technomage 2012. That would be TEK, as in technology. TEKNOMAGE 2012. And then there would be MPG Trikes, of course, miles per gallon trikes. I'm sure you can spell that, I hope. MPG Trikes. And then there's Hasty Heat. And you'll find all those on YouTube. And see many of the different crazy things I've built throughout my life, like the Gluppity Glup or the Chameleon two-wheel drive human hybrid electric chopper motorcycle I built in 30 days on a dare and got a free trip to the 2013 Sturgis
Dope.
by
Yeah.
way of Yellowstone National Park.
Hell yeah. See, like, yeah. Check.
That motorcycle frame was so light I could hold it out in one arm.
Dope.
It's 23-pound motorcycle frame that did 80 miles an hour. You
Hell
can pedal
yeah.
with it. You can pedal with it up to 60. Two-wheel drive, human hybrid electric,
Dope.
12 kilowatts of power,
Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck
8
yeah.
mile range.
Yeah, check out the YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
What else we got? Let's go to Mars. Let's make a backup copy of life. As far as we know in the world, as far as I've been able to collect from the information available, it's unique to here so far, so it's precious.
Yeah.
Let's collaborate and get off this rock.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Elon Musk, yo. Yeah.
No other person in the world is a better choice at this slice of history to be currently the world's second richest than Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't worship the religion of the golden calf. I am not a fan of bean counters. And he's got the open source the world mentality, and thank goodness the world has positioned him with the wherewithal to be able to pursue his goals.
Yeah.
That are making the changes that this world needs made.
Yeah. I agree, man. It's when I watch all the sci-fi movies about Alien and Weyland-Yutani Corporation, I'm like, it's gonna be Musk and somebody else that partner up to send us out to all those places and explore.
It's going to take us all. It's a huge endeavor, you know. So,
yeah.
well, you know, be the guy who breeds the first herb that'll live in the perchlorate Martian soil.
No doubt. Yeah. Dope idea, man. If there's any cannabis breeding homies, do that
Get some
shit.
perchlorate soil and start shifting genes.
Yeah, man. Find one that'll sprout and germinate in that shit, and let's do it. We'll have nugs on Mars too. Martian nugs. Yeah. Hell yeah. All right, dude. Well, fuck, dude. That's pretty good for an interview right there. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up, Brent Hasty?
I think that last business idea was a good closer.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah. Breed for Mars. Breeding for Mars. Cannabis breeding for Mars. Hemp. Whatever. CBD, CBN. Holler at your
There
boy
it is.
Brent Hasty. You know what I mean? I'm sure he's got some math to relay to you. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna go ahead and do my outro dance. This was the 85th episode of Concerned Dabs podcast. I was your host, Katie MK. My guest tonight, Brent Hasty from Hasty Heat, MPG Trikes. What was the other one on YouTube?
The Technomage 2012.
Techno Mage 2012. Please check those terms on YouTube. Follow the channels. Subscribe. Dude is doing some amazing shit. Some world changing shit that every man can relate to and apply to their life. So I got to thank the man, Brent Hasty, for coming on the show. He's a good friend and very talented, intelligent human, man, you know, who's spreading knowledge to everyone else. And I thank him for doing that on my show, man. It means a lot to me. Tuning in from halfway around the world, even, man, you know, so that's the shit, you know. So I also got to give a shout out to my guys in production, Mitchell Wilson and Jesse Curry. This has been a Main Node and Joseph Street Enterprise production. Right.